Hello everybody, Walt here. Welcome to episode 35 of Mark's Not Included Let's Play series with the Space.dot DLC. In the previous episode we finally built our spaceport to a point where we could launch our first Space Explorer. And while there is still a little bit of work to do on the spaceport itself, it's time to also look to the second asteroid and continue building out the farming setup over there. So without further ado, let's jump back into the game and have a look. And we're back at the spaceport. Now the first thing I need to do over here is actually repairing and securing this liquid lock here, which unfortunately broke due to the liquid nuclear waste displacing the liquid naphtha. Now there are two things I want to do. For one, I'm replacing the liquid naphtha with nuclear waste, and for the other, I'm actually going to grab myself a couple temp shift plates, and I'm just going to place them like so, and that should make sure that any kind of nuclear fallout or steam that reaches into this area here will immediately liquefy and land down here and will not even be able to actually reach the door here to, well, play around with the liquid lock. And here we go. If we now go into the materials overlay, you can occasionally see places where a vacuum appears, which is when nuclear fallout or steam gets in range of the plates here and directly turns into a liquid down here. So that is now secured. Next up, let's work on the Explorer a bit, or on the Conqueror a bit more, because I had an idea on how to work around in the power situation. First things first, I need to get rid of this one up there, and I need to replace this one here with a storage tile right there. And this is for some reason again out of lead. No, I want this out of gold. Then I can get rid of this storage bin down here. And then put in a hamster wheel and a little battery down there. And then I can power this via the tubes that are traveling with this rocket. And this also means I don't need the oxalate down here, since I will now be able to actually make use of the oxygen through this pipe here. On a second thought, I am actually going to need some more materials, so for the most part that is obsidian for some ladders later on. And I'm also adding a couple more storage tiles here so I can have some more refined metal and metal ores and similar in reserve in case I need it later on. But for the most part, this rocket here is now ready to go. There is, well, still a little bit of wire to be built, but for the most part, as I said, this is ready to go. With that said, let's have a look at our Explorer. Okay, he's exploring space, and in a few seconds he will reach this sandy ore field here. And we also have just found another planetoid, which is Freezolin. So we have a frozen asteroid. Very nice to see that. Now, let's just speed this up a bit until we have reached this sandy ore field here. And now, if we go over here, we have our Space Explorer with one artifact discovered or recovered. Now, let's continue over here. And you can see it has basically a 2-tile radius, where it discovers the area around it, or even a 3-tile radius, which means that I just need to get to somewhere over here. Yeah, just need to get to this spot here. Then I can discover all of this here, and depending on what this here is, I might even get another artifact on the return. But for now, I'm just going to continue discovering what is over here to the right. As well as building out the Conqueror a bit more. Namely, I need the storage tiles in place, I need the obsidian in here, and a few other materials. And here we go, everything is now ready to roll. I have obsidian, 10 tons should be enough. I also have some steel, some gold amalgam, and some coal in case I need some more power via a coal generator. Everything is good to go, which means now it's time to worry about who I am going to send as the crew. One will be Gaussman, and I might actually send one of my pilots over. It doesn't really matter which one, at least I do need Yeah, let's go with Ashkan. He doesn't have any other job, so I'm going to do it with Ashkan. So, let's send them off. We need a target, which will be over here, the orbit of Freezolin. And then cargo transfer. Okay, we are still transferring occasionally some oxygen in here, but for the most part we can start with the launch. So let's just speed this up a bit until both are in there. And now this rocket here is on its way to Freezolin, and in a couple cycles we should be able to make landfall over there. But with that said, let's have a quick look at how this is supposed to work. You can see the shield here against the nuclear fallout and steam is working as intended. As you can see, it's flickering between those two and vacuum. And also starting to glide at the bottom here. Very nice to see that. Now, this rocket is on its way. We have also a bit more discovered over here. So we have a metallic asteroid field. Okay, I won't really get my hands on the molten iron, but the copper and the obsidian might be quite useful. We can also target a bit further ahead. And yeah, I will definitely have to come back into this area here, since I only have space for 2 artifacts, and that is already half full. But for the most part, this here is working quite nicely. And now it's finally time to have a look over here on Duplicants and start working on the setup here. For one, I now have the means, or well, the necessary seeds to get this here filled with Bristle Blossom, which I have at the moment collected in this storage bin here. And you can see I have the original, and I have also a few mutated plants, and the only really useful one here is Juicy Fruit, which will drop immediately once it's done growing. But I can't really use blooming, or it doesn't really make much of a difference, and easygoing is actually counterproductive in a wild farm. So anyway, let's get these here out of the storage bin. And then I'm going to move those over to in here. First, I'm going to move it down there, because I want to plant at the beginning the juicy fruits. That is the one I want to plant first, and once that is in place, I can continue planting the other ones. So that needs to be moved over via dupe. And the next step over here is actually worrying about the missing plants I want to mutate. The next one on the agenda is water wheat, and I basically have everything for that except for the salt water. So I have brine but not salt water, but fortunately enough, hidden behind this one here is a saltwater geyser. So I will now start to tame this one here, and I'm going to go with a very simple setup I've already used a couple times, for example over here, or over here, or down here. And since it's still encased, I can actually go with the slightly more compact version you can see here. So let's get this one here built over here. And that's the majority of the necessary building orders. At a point in the future, I will have to worry about getting different gases in here to get a proper Escher waterfall going. But this now needs to be built first. While I was planning out this one here, I also continued building and planning out these here for the cool slush geyser and the cool salt slush geyser. And next on the agenda is actually hooking all of these vent tamers together with the cool steam vent here and this one down there together, so it will end up in this storage system here. So let's start with the cool slush geyser, which I'm going to use as a coolant for the cool steam vent. And yeah, let's go with the sedimentary rock here, since I don't have much igneous rock on this asteroid here. So this will run through this pipe here in a continuous stream controlled by the valve. And then from this point down at the bottom here, I'm going to run the water and this one here in the same, since I already have a system down here that will filter them out later on. But for this to work properly, I'm going to need a packet stacker. And I think I'm actually going to build this at the bottom there. So let's see. I will need to go over here. And then up like so. Then I need to get rid of this one here. Down here, I'm going to need first a valve. And then a liquid shutoff. The shutoff is already powered, I hope. And it will also need some automation to turn it on. Just like so. And the switch can actually be out of iron. I'm not going to waste gold on that right now. Then I'm still missing a few pipes at the bottom there. And then from here on it will go up with a bridge to ensure it flows in the direction it needs to. And then I have my output going through here. And I might as well just go straight over until I'm above here. And then I'm going to run an insulated pipe all the way to the top there. Then let's go down here with a bridge. This is all connected. Then I can connect the one up there too. And I'm still missing one down here. And how do I want to do this? I don't know what. Just going to go straight up here. That should be all I need. And that way all of the liquids will find their way into the storage system over here at some point. That should be all I need. And once all of this here is built and there's no danger of any more spillage, I can start cleaning up the area down here, since I don't need the pipe there. But for now, let's get all of these tamers here built properly. And also let's have a quick look. How are we going over here? So I can send this off to this spot. This should be all I need to discover everything in here. And we have a glimmering asteroid field, which is rather interesting because it's an infinite source for wolframite, and even if I want molten tungsten, which is quite useful actually. And one cycle later, we've now reached orbit, so let's have a quick look at the asteroid itself. And as you can see, it's rather slim and full of frozen materials, which is not overly surprising. Now, let's land. For that, I have my two Trailblazer modules. So first I'm going to send down Gosman, which I'm going to do... yeah, let's send him off over here. And then I need Ashkan, which I'm also going to deploy right there. And I hope I'm sending off both right now. So here is Gosman. And Ashkan should follow. Yeah, okay, Ashkan I will have to send off a second time. So now Ashkan should also be on his way, I hope. Let's see. Yeah, Ashkan should be on the way. Yep, there he comes. Now, next step is deconstructing the Trailblazers, and for that it's actually important that the two are made out of the same material, which in this case is steel. Then I can deconstruct the two, and once I have those two deconstructed, which I can do if I speed this up a little bit in a moment, I should have enough materials to build a rocket platform, for example right there. I will also need to get my hands on a little bit of raw materials for a couple ladders. And once all of this is built and the saving is done, so now I can build the ladders. Those two should be sufficient. And then my tubes may have to get down here. Oh, come on. No, not Ashkan. Gosman is going to build this. I don't have the time to wait for much time to do that. So, and now we have our rocket in space and we can land. And we have also a colony achievement, namely the soft launch. Build a launch pad on a world without a teleporter. And that is what we just did. Now, my two dupes can get back into the asteroid or the rocket, and I will worry about what is down here at a later point. For now, it's time to send this rocket back to Albano. So let's activate the launch and let's send them back. And that is basically how you can very easily get a rocket platform onto an asteroid. And it might also be a good idea at some point to replace those here with obsidian, since they are very close to the melting temperature actually already. So this needs to be done. Okay, they are also on the way and about to discover the rest over here. But who is Ren? Ach, come on, Ren. Really? I can remember that I put you into an atmosuit just a few moments ago. So. Ren, atmosuit, highest priority. Now. And then you can continue with this here. Otherwise, you would just roll to death. But, as you can see, this is for the most part already done, so I can start closing this off. I still need to get in the liquid seal though. And the saltwater geyser is now tamed and already providing us with a decent amount of saltwater, which is already being put into storage over here. Now, let's do a little bit of work over here. First of all, I need an output for non-sortable materials. So let's just move this over, and the output is this line down here. I could also go back, but I think I'm just going to go down here and then over there. Connect this like so. And at a later point I might actually just run this pipe straight over here and get rid of the pipe down there, but for the most part this is done. Next part is working on getting the water wheel in here. So let's first select the water wheel. Then up to over here. Now the water wheel needs a layer of liquid, and I'm just going to melt some ice for that. Or I might actually melt some brine ice. Why not? Let's place that there, and that should find its way all the way to over there. Yeah, that should be all I need. Water wheel also needs bleach stone, which I already have in here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, prepared this in advance. So that is looking pretty good already. Okay. And in just a few cycles we should see the first few mutants. And I totally forgot about this over here. I really should get going with that. So I can close this off at some point in the future. And I just noticed I don't really need these here. Since I'm doing the movement manually anyway. So, now with that out of the way, we still have a little bit of work over at the top there. But that is not overly critical right now. A bit more annoying is something I noticed over here in Albano. You can see in this here. Yeah, that is petroleum. And where does this come from? Well, I had some nuclear fallout finding its way in here and then temporarily displacing the petroleum. So, yeah, that is obviously pretty annoying, and maybe even a meteorite finding its way in there. Yeah, as you can see, I still need to close these chambers here off. And I think the simplest way to do that is just using this bit of petroleum here to make a small liquid lock, put a temporary pump in there, and pump out the rest of the gases, then close this off. Yeah, I think this is what I'm going to do right now, as well as getting out all of the petroleum down here. So the cleanup is still ongoing, but I decided to also add a temp shift plate over here in the hopes that any nuclear fallout gets solidified or well, condensed over here before it finds its way to the right. I'm also adding a temporary blockage here so I can actually evacuate this area here and close this mini vacuum chamber here with an actual vacuum inside. But the main reason I stopped right now is because we hit another achievement with the cycle end, and I'm pretty sure I know which one that is. Yeah. Moral high ground. Have the duplicants in one rocket survive in space for 10 cycles in a row with a moral of 25 or higher. And that is what just happened over here with my Explorer, which is now around 10 cycles on its voyage. And due to the great haul in here and somewhat decent food, Max here has such high morals. So that is another achievement, but as you can see, there is still a little bit of work over here. So let's get on that. In the intermediate time, let's have a look over on Dribbling at our farming setup. So as you can see, the water wheat is currently growing since I'm now providing it with a layer of brine and also a supply of salt water out of the reservoir down there. What's currently missing is some fertilizer to speed up the process, but I'm already moving what I have on my primary asteroid over here. So that should not be too long in the future. Now, before I do anything else, let's have a look over here. Yeah, I should continue over there. I keep forgetting getting rid of the ladders. Furthermore, I somewhat forgot a couple of episodes ago to actually explain how this automated Beeta hive here works. So the idea is pretty simple. I have those two independent circuits. Each will produce a pulse every 20 cycles, which closes either this door and this door, or this door and this door, displacing the water in one of the chambers and flooding the chamber with 20-degree warm water. The water will slowly cook in the Beeta hive, and the Beeta hive, when it dies, will let fall all of the enriched uranium it has produced in the immediate time. And then a couple cycles later, the other Beeta hive will produce a bit tiny, which comes over here, produces a new Beeta hive, and the whole cycle repeats. Which is also the reason why there are two of those circuits independent of each other, triggering at slightly different times, since, well, you don't want to have both of those here die at the same time. That is already the entire secret to this here. And yeah, with that said, let's continue working on the farming setup here, because the plants that are going to grow after I'm done with the water wheat will need chlorine. And for that I'll need a chlorine source, and I'm going with the rusty oxidizer. And I'm going to place it over here. So first I'll need a floor in here. Then I will need some insulated, or some airflow tiles here, then insulated tiles there. Wait, that's not the correct spacing. There. And then the airflow tiles there. So, then I need a ceiling. I will also need to go up to this spot there. One more there. Wait, that's the wrong spot. Up there. So, then I need to get rid of these ladders here. I will also need the rusty oxidizer in here. I will need a double layer of liquids, so I'm going with a partially submerged system. Then a couple storage bins in this spot here. Power will come from down here. Then I'm going to need a couple gas pumps, one here, another one will come later on up there. Then an atmo sensor here and later on there. Then the connections, I will also need power for these two. Then the pipes. For now I'm just going straight over. I will worry about those a bit later once I have figured out which one is which. Then let's continue with what am I missing? Automation will have to follow in a moment, but I can already put in the wire for that one, which will likely go up to this spot there if I'm correct. So now let's get this built and let's get in a double layer of liquids. Like in this here. Now next up, let's grab ourselves a signal switch. I'm going to place here. So I can turn this on and off at will. We also have something to print out, so let's have a look. Another pilot, maybe, although it's not really that good of a pilot, so... some more salt water, why not? But let's continue up here. Now I have some space, I can put in the second pump. I will also need to, well, for one, clean up all of the garbage in here. But for the other, I'm going to need an auto sweeper right in this spot there. Let's actually go a bit higher with the priorities for all of this. Then, next up, I'm actually going to remove this one here temporarily, because I want this chamber down here completely filled with chlorine. And if I keep that in place, I will have an oxygen pocket at the top there, which is just the wrong spot for that. Then, once all of this is done, I can put in these here, as well as these here. And basically, I will have a chlorine chamber here, oxygen chamber here, and then I'm more or less done. For now though, I'm just going to put in a couple pipes here so I can get rid of the gases there. I should also have another ladder somewhere. Well, let's place it there so I can get to the top there. And now the next step is actually pumping all of the carbon dioxide from here to over here, since I actually want carbon dioxide in here just to be on the safe side. And I will have to switch over to a chlorine atmosphere over here, so I might as well make use of that. So let's grab ourselves another gas pump. And where do I place this? Where would be the best spot? Maybe down here. Yeah, let's place it down here. Then I am going to need the gas pipe, which goes all the way to the top there. You know what? Let's go all the way to the top here. Then over, and then I'm going to go actually down to the very bottom here, and that is where I'm going to place the vent, just to make sure that this can actually displace all of the oxygen here before it starts to overflow. Yeah, that looks like a pretty good idea. And there we go. This is now running. We are producing a decent amount of chlorine here and also a decent amount of oxygen. Now, since those two chambers here are properly filled, I can also snip off the connections here for now. And now the oxygen I might as well actually vent, although not with a high pressure vent, but a normal gas vent instead, just like so. And then I can also get rid of this pipe here. And once I have all of the carbon dioxide in here removed, I am going to replace it with the chlorine. But that is something for a later episode. Now, let's continue over here and also continue with the setup over here. We are already about halfway done. And our rocket explorer is just about to land again. So let's see what he brought. So here he comes, and if we get a bit closer, we should also see the artifacts we found in the intermediate time. Very, very nice. And we've used about 1 ton of oxygen in the intermediate time. Okay. Very nice to see. This is also still working as intended. And over here, this is also almost a vacuum. Yeah, I still need to get this here properly evacuated as well. So anyway, let's get these artifacts out of here. And then let's actually set a new target. And if you go over here, you can see I already took the glimmering asteroid field and the artifact. And now I think I'm going for the metallic asteroid field and then the carbon asteroid field next. Or I might as well grab the two at the back here. This one here I can grab at a later point anyway. Yeah, I think that is what I'm going to do. So, let's make this our new target. And it still needs to be fueled. Yeah, of course, we need to wait until we have again some rat balls in the engine. But that shouldn't take too long. As you can see, the rat balls come fast and furious. So, and I maybe should make sure my dupes don't walk through in this area here, because this whole thing here is just a firing squad. So, but anyway, let's continue over here and also over here. And a couple cycles later, we are halfway done over here. But over on Beno, I reconsidered and switched out the large gas cargo canister against a normal sized one, which gives me enough space for 2 artifacts, so I can now get all of the artifacts over here without having to go twice this way. So we are pretty much done with filling this one here. Now let's have a quick look. There is one thing that has been annoying me for a while, and that is my dupes using this here to go to the toilet. So I'm going to turn this here into the grounded state, so only when they are in space my dupes will actually be able to reach or access all of that. I will have to be careful though on the Conqueror with that, because once my dupes are actually on another asteroid, I will have to switch this back around again. But in the intermediate time, I managed to close off this vacuum chamber here and reset all of this over there. And also all of these vacuum chambers here are now probably closed off. And besides of a little bit of leftover cleanup, we are basically done over here. At a later point, I will of course have to work on the hydrogen rockets as well as producing the required liquid oxygen and hydrogen, but that is something for a bit later. Now, this here should be sent off soon, although, you know what, I don't really need this to be completely filled up, so let's send this off into space. So, Max is on his way, and Ashkan is hurt apparently, not sure why, but he is. Yeah, doesn't really matter much. Rocket is starting, and yeah, that is the Explorer on its way. And any moment now we should see him. Maybe speed this up a bit on his way. Yeah, exactly what we want to see. Now over here I need to continue with planting the plants here, and I'm also continuing with building those themas here. This one here is pretty much done. I still want a little bit more brine in here, so I don't have the ugly layer of gases at the top there. But besides of that, this here is basically done, so at least this part here I can close off. And this one here is also more or less done, and pretty soon we have essentially every geyser tamed on this map except for 1 or 2 carbon and dioxide geysers that can be found here at the bottom of the map. I may make use of them at a later point, but for now I don't really need them. So we are also soon getting our first few water weeds out of that. And by the way, as you can see, I added another gas pump at the top there to speed up the removal of the carbon dioxide. But for now, let's wait until we are a bit further ahead with all of this here. And not even a cycle later, we have discovered another planetoid. So let's have a look. Okay, Moistila, which is a submerged asteroid. So let's have a look at the asteroid. So again, no meteorite showers, which is nice to see. We have water and we have aquatic and barren. Okay, so you know what this means? Exactly, we have our Conqueror, which is now going to be sent off. And later recharge. Okay, this is nice. But as I said, we are going to send off this here now to orbit of Moistilla. And yeah, this is basically ready to go. So let's send this off. just speed this up a bit. And let's just wait until we're still missing. Ah, here is Cosmo. Okay, so this is being sent off. And in a couple cycles we should be able to land properly on Moistella. And we are also going to grab ourselves a few materials on Moistella if everything goes to plan. So this is on the way, this one is on the way, and this here is also on its way. And the pips are done with the planting. In the intermediate time I also finished with the Tamers over here, so this is all now more or less done, except I think I still have some connections to re-establish. Okay, now everything is running as it's supposed to. And yeah, now we need to finish with this here, and we also need to deal with Moistella. Both of which will take a little while, and that is something I will do in the next episode. And with that, we've reached the actual end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and comment if you did so. It really helps with the algorithm. In the end of that, I wish you a nice day, and well, see ya!